Hey yo, what is up guys, Omni here aka Chain Cobain. We are back and we are discussing RB, but what does RB even mean? Is it 1. Ritual Beast? 2. Really broke, never rich again? 3. Rebel Bots? Or 4. Please Mrs. Konami give this archetype a link 1 and a field spell just like yummy. And the answer is, they are all correct, so let's go! So, RB is a TCG exclusive archetype that revolves around machine monsters, mainly Brute Blues, the Link monster, and Stage Landing, which is a not once per turn E-teleport for machine monsters out of the extra deck, or to say for RB machine monsters, or RB monsters in the main deck. So what we can accomplish with it is to establish a Brute Blues, which is beefed up by other RB monsters on the field which he's linked to. To give you a little overview of how a decklist could look like, I want to present you this decklist. Here you can see the field spell, which can search you Stage Landing, which then can establish your link plays. You also have a bunch of generic 1-card starters that establish 2 machine monsters on the board. So again, you can go into Vulcan Booster, which then gives you access to Stage Landing or the field spell, which then again leads us to Brute Force, for example. And the rest is just filled with requirements for the engine and also a bunch of non-engine space. If we are going first, what we want to establish is the hand whip with Lambda Cannon, which also gives us hand knowledge of what the opponent plays and what he has in his hand. And then we will probably establish 1 or 2 of the little RBs that also establish interactions in the opponent's turn, mainly by Driller or Cutter, which are able to negate a spell trap or pop a monster, and Lambda Blade is also able to snatch an opponent's monster. So there are multiple ways to do the same combo with different cards. For this 1-card combo we will just start with Funk Dog, we will activate it. On activation it's able to search our Stage Landing. With this deck you always want to have 2 machine monsters on the field, so you can just link everything off and benefit from the effects of the link monsters. Here we will special summon our Brute Force, which then is able to search us. We will go in Driller, I guess. Then we will special summon our Driller, link those 2 off for Vulcan Booster. Then Vulcan Booster on summon can search a Belle. We just get Stage Landing again. And now for the 4th summon, we will special summon out Lambda Cannon from the deck into a zone a link monster points to. So on summon he triggers to get back Driller to her hand because we very soon need it. Now we use his effect to destroy himself, so we can look into our opponent's hand and special summon a monster. Here we will just special summon our monster without anything. Our field spell will trigger to float. We can get out Cutter, which is a spell trap negate if a monster points to it, but don't worry, we are working on that. Now we just normal summon our Driller and then use his effect to pop the opponent's monster, and we can also protect it from destruction with Stage Landing in the grave. Now we use Vulcan Booster to revive Lambda Cannon 1 more time, so we can just have enough bodies to link them off for Shepherd's Crook. So here Shepherd's Crook can set a trap from the deck or the graveyard. We will decide to set next phase here, which is a monster negate, and it's a counter trap, very nice. And what you're looking at is a hand rip. Also, for this combo we use 2 Stage Landing, so 1 is banished already, 1 can protect our monsters. What we will do here is, on the first interaction of our opponent, we will pop one of the 2 monsters we have here. For this example, we need to free out the zone a link monster points to, right? So we just destroy Drill here. So the field spell will trigger and we can get out Lambda Blade, which is another interaction. Interaction and interruption, because it can just snatch an opponent's monster. Here we foolish Last Stand, we can banish it to negate a targeting effect that targets an RB monster. And we also still have next phase, and ideally in this combo, as you saw it, you should have used Lambda to snatch something from your opponent, and then you can pop it with next phase. So we have 1 more Stage Landing in the deck for follow-up, which is okay, I guess. And from there, our opponent should have a very minor board, and we should have a very easy way to OTK from here. So what is our game plan if we are going second? It's pretty easy. Since we have a lot of non-engine space and also RB is pretty resilient, we can perfectly side and blow out cards like Shifter or other breakers, or just stuff like Gravekeeper's Inscription if it helps us breaking the board. Since we are not reliant on special summoning from the grave or triggering effects in the grave, all we really need to do is to resolve stage landing 1 or 2 times and trigger all the effects of the RB monsters to establish a brute force, which is in the extra deck monster zone, which also points to the RB monsters. So he's beefed up enough to wing for game or track the board, and then all we do from there is go into Shepherd's Crook, do some minor interaction plays during our opponent's turn if we are not able to OTK, and then try again once it's our turn again. If you, just like me, are a machine monster lover and you hear me out, I will give you a little pro and con why RB is a cool deck to play right now. I said it often enough, stage landing is not once per turn. Also cards like Sky Striker Engage, which are able to produce a lot of bodies which then link into the RB engine, are also not once per turn. Pretty awesome, it can get very overwhelming for your opponent very fast. So the next thing, we have a lot of non-engine space, please use it, adapt it to your playstyle and your most hated matchups, and dedicate it and go to locals and destroy your opponents. Also, one thing I very much enjoyed is the forward gameplay. You may think it's cookie cutter and pretty simple, to be honest it is, but sometimes you will think relatively long periods about very small details, but once you realize that it was totally necessary to think about it and then establish the OTK, you will just feel like the best player in the world. Also, another thing, going first, the hand knowledge is a self-FTK. Sometimes your opponent, he realizes you watch into his hand and he knows the hand is bad, and then he reflects himself, he uses his cognitive abilities to realize that you saw, that you know by yourself that the hand is bad, and then you just scoop it up. Also, these 2 points, I don't know how to say, the synergy between them is awesome. It's a deck that people are not familiar with, and it's also a deck that establishes an OTK out of nowhere. Perfect. Hopefully your opponent never read a single RB card in his life. Also, some of the matchups like K9 are pretty awesome. We don't play it all into K9, so if you are running to a board and there's a Ripper and maybe a Nash Knight, which I don't know if it's so easy to play around it, but let's just take Ripper alone, okay? Your opponent has Ripper on the field and Izuna in his hand. You don't even play into it, so they will never chain Izuna and they will never chain Ripper. It's just free real estate or something, I don't know. The cons. Oh, also, on the pro side, this whole deck costs like 20 euros. Solid pickup if you ask me, and if this deck ever gets support, please a link one. This deck will be so awesome. If we could play 10 stage landings, this deck would be even more gas. The cons. Not gonna lie, I don't know how to feel about the Draco Tail matchup. It's pretty lackluster. Maybe you find the perfect non-engine for it. Also, the follow-up, it's not really there. After turn 2, if you play 2 turns already, you're out of gas. If you resolved all your stage landings, there's not much else to do. Also, you have hand knowledge, but your going first board is pretty low ceiling. You can also do combos with Regulars and stuff like that to have an Omni on the board to have a higher ceiling, but usually it should be enough. I didn't run into too many issues with it, I think at all. If we go first and we resolve the combo, we are pretty fine actually. And also one other thing, I don't know how well we are playing into Radiant Typhoon. I can only guess, I just wasn't playing against it for some reason. So maybe the matchup is also a bit lackluster, but we have enough non-engine space to fix Draco Tail and the Radiant matchup problem. So keep everything I said in mind. So have an amazing day, have an amazing night, and in general, have an amazing life. Omni out.